Hello everyone, welcome to the video series on structural analysis. In this video, we will see the basic concept of stiffness matrix method. The analysis of indeterminate structure is the major field in structural engineering. There are a number of methods of structural analysis are there. For example, we have slope deflection method, we have moment distribution method, we have Carney's method. For hand calculation, the best among these methods is Carney's method. But this method will not be convenient for analysis of multi-story buildings involving high degree of indeterminacy. This need for analysis of high degree of indeterminate structure and development of computers has given rise to the new method called as matrix method. Basically, we have two different methods of methods of structural analysis. The first one is flexibility matrix method and the second one is stiffness matrix method. We will see one by one. Flexibility matrix method. The systematic development of consistent deformation method in the matrix form has led to the development of flexibility matrix method. In this method, the basic unknowns are redundant forces and hence the analyst has to first identify basic indeterminate structure and thereby identify the redundant forces. In this particular method, the total number of redundant forces is equal to degree of static indeterminacy. The displacement in basic determinate structure due to given loading and redundant forces are first found out and the consistency conditions are formed. The resulting simultaneous equations are solved to get the values of redundant forces then. This method is also called as force method or flexibility method or compatibility method. Next method of matrix analysis is stiffness matrix method. The development of slope deflection method in matrix form has given rise to the stiffness matrix method. In this method, the basic unknowns are the displacement of joint. The equations of equilibrium are first formed and then the unknown displacement at joint are calculated. Using slope deflection equation or stiffness equation, the shear force and bending moments can be then calculated. This method is also known as stiffness matrix method or displacement method or equilibrium method because matrices are formed, hence this method is called as stiffness matrix method. As the basic unknowns are displacement, therefore this method is called as displacement method, and as equilibrium equations are formed, therefore this particular method is considered as a equilibrium method. Before touching the actual point, we must understand this term degree of kinematic indeterminacy. The degree of kinematic indeterminacy is the number of equilibrium conditions needed to find out the displacement components, that is translation and rotation of all joints of a structure. Okay, for any joint, if we have some joint like this here, okay, for any joint there are three displacements are possible. The first one is rotation. This may bend like this and therefore a rotation like this is possible. Let us consider this is end A. Then another displacement is this translation in x direction, this is ux, and this translation in vertical direction, let us consider this is uy. So at a free end we will be having total 3 number of rotations like this, okay, displacement like this. So at free end we will be having total 3 degree of kinematic indeterminacy. At a simple or roller end we will be having 2 degree of kinematic indeterminacy, at a hinged end will be having only 1 degree of kinematic indeterminacy, because at hinged end you can see the deflected shape will be something like this, and the kinematic indeterminacy at this hinged end, it will be this rotation only. Therefore the degree of kinematic indeterminacy for hinged end will be 1, and for fixed end, for this type of support or fixed support, you can see the theta will be 0, then ux will be 0, and uy will also be 0, like this. Again, let us see some examples of calculating the degree of kinematic indeterminacy. Now, when one end of a beam is hinged and other is on roller, so one end of this particular beam is hinged and other end is on roller, you can see here the degree of kinematic indeterminacy can be calculated like this. The deflected shape will be something like this. The deflected shape will be something like this. This will be rotation at A, this is end A, this is end B, rotation at B, and at this roller support a translation in x direction is possible. Therefore total unknowns for this case 1, this will be 3, that is theta A and theta B and ux. Therefore degree of kinematic indeterminacy for this particular case, it will be 3. Let us consider this second example of propped cantilever. So let us consider a propped cantilever is there like this. Here you can see the deflected shape will be something like this. So we'll be having at this joint B, we'll be having rotation at B. Again, translation in x direction is possible here. Therefore the degree of kinematic indeterminacy for a propped cantilever, this will be equal to 2. And for a fixed beam, or this case number 3, you can see if we have a fixed beam like this, okay, the deflected shape will be something like this. So we will have theta A here is equal to 0, theta B is equal to 0. Again, ux and uy at joint B and at joint A will be again 0. Therefore the degree of kinematic indeterminacy for a fixed beam, this will be 0. Let us consider some example. Okay, you can see here for a fixed beam the degree of kinematic indeterminacy will be 0. Let us consider this example where one of the end A is a fixed end and end B, this is a roller support. Okay, for this particular case you can see the degree of kinematic indeterminacy can be calculated like this. The deflected shape will be something like this. We'll be having rotation here at theta B, rotation at B will be theta B, and there is possible translation is there, that is ux at B. So degree of kinematic indeterminacy for this particular case, this will be 2. Okay, let us consider another example where the left support A is a hinge support and support B, it is a roller support. So for this particular case the deflected shape will be something like this. We'll be having here rotation at A, that is theta A, and rotation at B, that is theta B. Again, some translational movement is possible at end A, let us consider it is ux. So the total unknown displacement will be theta A, theta B and ux. So degree of kinematic indeterminacy for this particular case, this will be 3. Okay, so like this the degree of kinematic indeterminacy is calculated. Next, before touching the main topic, we must understand the concept behind the matrices. Let us consider we have two simultaneous equation number 1 and equation number 2. We can write this simultaneous equation in matrix form like this. Okay, we can consider this equation like this, multiply this row with this column and this will be equal to first value. So we get, if we solve this, we get 4x plus 8y is equal to 24, and second row multiply with column of second matrix, it will be equal to this 30. So the equation will be 5x plus 10y equal to 30. So we can write this slope deflection equation in matrix form like this, and it will be convenient when number of unknowns are or variables are more. Then solving by using matrices will be more convenient than as compared with the solving the simultaneous equation. Let us consider we have another simultaneous equations like this. So we can write this simultaneous equation in matrix form like this. If we solve this matrix, we get 4x, this first row, multiply by column plus first value of this matrix and equal to this 74. So 4x plus 8y is plus 50, this is equal to 74. This is equation number 1. Then second row multiply by the column plus this value equal to 62. So 5x plus 10y plus 32, this is equal to 62. So like this the simultaneous equations can be can be written in matrix form like this. So these are the basic equations of our slope deflection method. Okay, we can also write these equation in matrix form like this. So first row multiply with the first column of second matrix plus this figure will be equal to this. You can see here MAB is equal to 4EI into theta A plus twice EI theta B plus MFAB. Similarly, the second equation will be first row multiply by the column of second matrix plus this value will be equal to MBA. So this equation will be formed, that is MBA is equal to 4 EI theta B divided by L plus twice EI theta A divided by L plus MFBA. Now we will see the steps for stiffness matrix method. Okay, let us consider we are given with one continuous beam ABC as shown in this particular picture. So the step number 1 is to determine the degree of kinematic indeterminacy of the structure. So for this particular structure, the deflected shape will be something like this. The deflected shape will be something like this. So we will have total unknowns. Here we will have theta B, here will be have theta C. So total unknown displacement, here it will be theta B and theta C. So we can determine the degree of kinematic indeterminacy. For this particular case, degree of kinematic indeterminacy will be equal to 2. Okay. Step number 2, we have to assign the coordinate number to unknown displacements. As we have seen here, the unknown displacement are these theta B and theta C, theta B and theta C. So what we will be doing, we will assign coordinate numbers to these unknown displacement. Let us consider the unknown displacement, or theta B is considered as 1 and it is called as coordinate number 1, and the coordinate number 2, that is theta C, okay, it will be considered as coordinate number 2. So we will be assigning the coordinate numbers like this, which is shown in this particular picture. Okay, so coordinate number 1 will be assigned at theta B or joint B, and coordinate number 2 is assigned at joint C. Step number 3 is to determine the fixed end moment, assuming all the joints as fixed. So considering each of the member as separate member and each of the end as fixed end, we will be calculating the fixed end moment for the given external loading. So we will be calculating MFAB, that is fixed end moment at AB, MFBA, MFBC and MFCB by using standard fixed end moment values. Step number 4 is we have to form the force matrix. The force matrix is given by this particular equation, that is force matrix. This force matrix is equal to PJ matrix minus PL matrix, PJ matrix minus PL matrix, where this PJ matrix is the matrix of moment of joint due to external load, moment at joint due to external load, and this L matrix this is the matrix of force or moments developed in each coordinate direction, or simply we can say summation of fixed end moment at that particular joint. Now the size of this PJ matrix, will be dk by 1. It will be dk by 1, and the size of this PL matrix, it will be again dk by 1, that is degree of kinematic indeterminacy by 1. We will see what is this PJ matrix and PL matrix. So the PJ matrix, it is the matrix of moment at joint due to any external load. So if we are having some moment or external moment acting at joint B, then it will be considered as PJ1, because we have considered this coordinate number as 1. And if we have some external moment which is acting at joint C, so this will be considered as PJ2. Let us consider M1 and M2. PJ2, it will be considered as PJ2 because we are considering joint 2 as coordinate number 2. So this PJ matrix will become a matrix with M1 and M2 like this. So this PJ1 and PJ2 are the moments acting at the coordinate coordinate numbers due to external loading, whereas this PL matrix, it is the matrix of moment developed in each coordinate direction, or simply summation of fixed moment at that particular joint. So PL matrix will be, again size will be dk by 1, and it will be here this PL1, it will be this is coordinate number 1, this is coordinate number 2. Therefore this PL1 will be summation of fixed end moment of all the members meeting at coordinate number 1. Here at coordinate number 1 we have two members, that is BA and BC. So the PL1, it will be summation of fixed end moment MFBA plus summation of fixed end moment MFBC. Similarly, the PL2 will be summation of fixed end moment of all the members meeting at joint C. Here we have only one member, that is CB. Therefore PL2 will be equal to MFCB. So finally the force matrix will be like this, that is force matrix is equal to PJ matrix minus PL matrix. Step number 5, we have to determine the stiffness matrix by giving unit displacement to the restraint structure in each of the coordinate direction. So first what we will be doing, we will determine this K matrix. How this K matrix is determined? First what we will be doing is, we will apply a unit rotation. This is our coordinate number 1, coordinate number 2 at joint C. Okay, so first we will be applying a unit rotation, that is theta B is equal to 1 at joint B, at this particular joint B, at this particular joint B. Okay, and then we'll find out the values of this stiffness, that is K11 and K21, this K11 and K21. Okay, so two values of this stiffness matrix are calculated. Next what we'll be doing, we'll be applying unit rotation at coordinate number 2. You can see here we have applied unit rotation, that is theta C is equal to 1 at joint C or coordinate number 2. This is our coordinate number 2, this is our coordinate number 1. So we have applied theta C is equal to 1 for this particular beam, and then we can calculate the values of K12 and K22 or K22. Okay, we'll discuss this briefly when we'll solve the numericals. Step number 6 is to write the stiffness equation. The stiffness equation is given by this particular equation. This is the stiffness equation where this K matrix is the matrix of stiffnesses. This delta matrix is the matrix of deflections, and this force matrix, this is the matrix formed by deducting this PJ matrix is like this, PJ minus PL. Okay, so this is how the stiffness equations are formed. After solving this stiffness equation, we will get the values of unknown displacement, that is delta, and then we can find out the final end moment or member forces by by substituting the values of delta in the stiffness equations, and then the last step will be to draw the bending moment diagram. Thank you. We will solve the numerical in the next video.